casual.
Love it. Love it. Love it. How you doing, pal?
I am doing great. You know what I'm saying? It's happy Saturday to you. It's
Yeah,
good. Yeah, happy Saturday. First things first, how are you doing today?
I'm good. It's Saturday. If the sun is shining, what more do you need?
It's beautiful. It's not, I mean, I went outside. It's not too cold, not too cold off. You know what I'm saying? I can really walk in my sweater and just enjoy this weather. You know what I'm saying?
I know. It's perfect. I took my dogs for a walk this morning and it was like hoodie,
Ooh.
sweatpants, some runners. It was perfect. It's the best time of like weather season.
Like I said, this is my type of season, so I'm
Yeah.
uh, I'm, I'm excited. Can't wait to get more warmer and wear more shorts. So.
Right? I
Yeah.
love it. I love it. I love it.
But no, like I said, welcome. Yeah, like I said, y'all, this is another episode, Man of Steel Podcast, episode 12. I'm here with the great Dr. Michael Gillespie. Dr. G, you want to tell more the audience about yourself, like who you are, what you do for at EIU?
Yeah, I'd love to. So I'm Michael Gillespie. I am very well known as Dr. G. I think everybody, if you say Dr. G, everybody kind of knows who they're talking about at this point. But I'm the Dean of Student Success at EIU, where I get to work with this man of steel and so many more, which is awesome. I oversee our TRIO program, student support services, all of our academic advising, supplemental instruction, our disability services, so much awesome stuff happening. So yeah, I call myself an academic social worker because I feel like that's what I do.
You definitely bring great vibes, and those guys who've seen Dr. G walking around, definitely say hi to him. He's definitely a great person to talk to. Need help or any
Thank
resource
you.
on campus, and just need someone to talk to about just life stuff in general. He's your guy right here.
Yeah.
So definitely
Awesome.
recommend him, guys. So, but nah, man, like tell me more about your story. Obviously you ain't got to get into too much details, but like, where are you originally from originally?
Sure.
What's your
I
yeah,
grew,
back?
yeah. Yeah, my backstory. I am from Detroit, Michigan, born and raised.
Oh, snap.
I made my way here for the job. I started here as an assistant professor, fresh out of my PhD program, and that was 16 years ago.
Wow.
So it's been a minute, yeah. But in between that, growing up in Detroit and here, I had a lot of cool opportunities, a lot of things that I got to experience. I was a first generation college student, which I know a lot of folks these days are actually first in my family to graduate with a degree. So
Yes.
I was so that's a sort of a feather in my cap I like to tell people about so I can relate because a lot of students this time, a lot of people this day and age, we still talk about that as a badge because it's so important. And so I want people to know that that badge is decades and decades in the making for some people, and some people it's their mission. So I love being a first generation college student and going from in my undergrad academic probation. It was really bad timing. It was like life happens, right?
It
And
does.
then graduating with honors. So I saw the full spectrum of what it was like as a college student. And then I caught the bug and I wanted to work at universities and institutions for the rest of my life. So I wanted to go into higher ed because of the experiences I had as an undergraduate student. I went right from my undergrad to my master's degree. I got a master's in social work at the University of Michigan. And so I spent about 4 or 5 years just doing some social work stuff. My background in social work is not clinical. It's really all the policy and research end of social work. But my concentration was really welfare services, welfare policy, food insecurity, housing insecurity, child welfare, those sorts of areas. So really into some challenging types of topics. But I loved it. And when I went back for my PhD a few years after that, I really wanted to study policy. I wanted to study how policy impacts people, specifically marginalized populations, how programs and services are designed without their best interests, when they're supposed to be serving them. That's really one of the big things I'm interested in is how we build barriers for people who we're actually supposed to be building bridges for. So that's a little bit about my story.
It's very inspiring. No, and like I said, I didn't know you're from Detroit. Well, it makes sense because you have the Michigan Wolverines jacket on, which shout out to the
Yeah,
Wolverines. Hope they, I don't know if they won the
they
championship.
did.
Oh, they did again.
Yeah, they won the Big Ten, but they're in the Elite Eight now, so they play tomorrow night to get in the Final Four. Yeah.
Shout out to Michigan. Shout out to your great country. No, I said country, great state of Michigan. But
Yes.
no, so going back to like you said, you were a professor. Do you
Mhm.
currently? I know, like I said, you're now the dean of students of success here at EIU. But do you currently teach sociology at Eastern Illinois, or are you kind of like? Do you still do that from time to time? Or are you like, how do you are you like balancing that, or you don't do that type of work no more as professor at EIU?
I do. I've taken about a year off because I've only been in this position for about a year. So I taught last spring, but I took the fall and this spring off. And I'm probably going to teach a class next spring. My teaching specialty is statistics, so I teach the statistics requirement in the sociology program and the criminology program, same program. And so that I miss it. I didn't think I was going to miss it as much as I do. So I have a chance to teach it again next spring. One of the things too that's super exciting about teaching for me is in my role, I also oversee an interdisciplinary studies program. And part of that program, it has a track in Danville Correctional Center. And we have a bachelor's degree program for the men who are there. I'm going to teach them intro to sociology this summer. I'm going to go into the prison. I'm going to have probably about 30 of these guys in my class and do an intro to sociology class. I am so excited about that. Like I am so stoked about being able to go and teach that class for these guys. It's yeah, I'm stoked.
Like I was gonna say, that's great because I know people think about prison like, oh, it's dangerous. People like think of the negative aspects of it, but knowing you'll probably bring some positivity to it. I mean, I know you. Or are you a little nervous before I get to my next question? Going teaching in the prison correctional facility,
I'm
if
not.
you are,
No, I'm not because I've been there. Because I oversee that program. I usually go one day a month because it's up in Danville, so it's a little further away from where we are, but with my other obligations too. But I want to be a presence for these guys, and these gentlemen go through the same courses our students do. They have the same requirements that our students do, and I think that they deserve the same attention that all of our students do. And they're an amazing group, and you, we talk a lot these days. And Terrell, I know you know about this because of your involvement with Trio. We talk a lot about how students are disengaged, students have changed,
they
it's
have.
hard to get them either to answer email, to go to class. These students understand the magnitude of what they are doing. They get that they are um, in a position to really make lemonade out of lemons. They've made bad choices in their life. They've done things that have, put them into a position where they're incarcerated, but they're still human beings. And
Yes, absolutely.
for education, in my mind, and the reason I love working in education, especially higher education, is because it changes lives. It changes trajectories, and not just, for individuals, but it changes trajectories for families intergenerationally. And even if, one of these gentlemen who will graduate is a lifer, for example, is not going to get out. But what a powerful message to send to his children, to his children's children, that even though he was paying this price, that he was still focused on doing something with his life to show others just the power that that is. So, you know, it's a prison, but the stories there make teaching and higher education like so meaningful, so powerful, so impactful. So you can probably hear my dog.
I heard. Was that a growl?
That was not a growl. She's just barking. Hold on a second. Hey, hey. Olive, give me 1 second.
Take your time.
Olive, you. She's a puppy.
Really? She had pup, or she's a puppy.
She's a puppy. Yeah, she's young, so we're still getting her settled down a little bit. So, yeah,
Oh, that's all right. Take your time. I know puppies are fun, but they're definitely it's like a baby, so I get
that's
it.
right.
But
That's
no,
right.
that's good. That's really good what you said. I love how passionate, like you say, you are for like just want to make a difference. And I feel like, yeah, people incarcerated, not even just teens, just people in general, yeah, they done some things they shouldn't have done, and obviously it has affected their lives. But people like gentlemen like yourselves, like just believe in them that they can have a second chance and just trying to find a difference in their lives so that when they do eventually get out, they can like look at life a little bit different. So I would say
Mhm.
I congrats to you on that.
Thank
That's
you.
definitely something to feel proud of.
Thank you. Well, I wish I could take all the credit for it, but I inherited the program. We have a woman, her name's Kim Redfern, who coordinates that program, and she is beyond a force of nature. She's so passionate about these gentlemen and about the program and what it is that they do. Um, she is really the force behind it. I just get to support her. So I'm not going to take credit for anything except wanting to
Yes.
make sure that these guys get to their goals, get to what they want to achieve. So yeah.
Absolutely. And I'll definitely be praying for them and praying for you to like just help them throughout that journey now and just make that
Yeah.
difference in their lives. No, that's really great. And actually you actually beat me to the question I was going to ask you about your passion about students. I was going to say how do you feel like how can students who feel lost or unmotivated get back on track here, not even just at EIU, but just school in general?
I mean, if in that situation, if a
Yeah.
student is just feeling lost, needs to get back on track, do one thing. Don't try to focus on the enormity of everything that you might have to do between now and say the end of the semester. You got projects, you got exams that are going to come up. You probably got
Yes.
to write a few papers. You
Mhm.
know, just take one thing at a time because you can't eat a whale in one bite. Like it takes, or you have to just take one bite at a time, you know, and that's how you get through those things. There's a famous Shel Silverstein poem about eating a whale and how you do that. And I always think about this poem. I don't know if you know who Shel Silverstein is, but he's a children's poet. He wrote books like Where the Sidewalk Ends and The Giving Tree and um, my generation when I was young. Anyway, he's got this poem about eating a whale and how it's about persistence and patience and believing in yourself, and eventually you'll get through it.
Yes.
So yeah, it's one thing at a time. Like take one step. If you gotta, if you have to finish a statistics homework assignment, just do that, right? Get that done. That's one thing off your list. And then that's a pat on the back, like you did it. Don't think about all of everything that you have to do, because then it's like drinking from a fire hose.
Yes.
Um, so it's about, doing one thing at a time, but just don't beat yourself up, right? You're getting a degree, you're getting an education. It's not going to be the easiest road, but this is what makes the road worth it. And you're going to sweat, you're going to have some anxiety, you're going to struggle, but at the end of the day, like you got to believe that you're going to finish what you started, and you got to believe like so many of us on campus do, that you deserve to be here, you belong here, and you got to find your people who are going to help you lift you up. So, that's really it. Take one step at a time, right? Believe in yourself and find your people who are going to help lift you up. So that's how you get through things, not just academically, but really in life. Take it one
Yes.
step at a time, right? And find your people.
Yes, sir. No, that's definitely important because yeah, I can relate because like me, I'm like student that just work hard, just trying to get things done. So I'm just trying to
Mhm.
like finish one task and get to another task. But you're right, it's all about taking your
Mhm.
time, not rushing, and just making sure like, you understand like what you're doing and you're not overstressing yourself out. So
That's
no,
right.
I totally
Yeah.
understand. And I was actually going to ask you, so Now that and you say you've been the dean of students for about a year, right?
Yep, just about a year. So
About a
I took
year.
the
Yeah.
yeah.
I was actually going to ask, so how have you been enjoying this new role? Like, what's some things, some pros and cons that you came across like your first year in this position, and like, what's some things you want to continue to implement going
Hmm.
forward at EIU?
Good question. That's a great question. I feel like I feel like the position almost it fits me too good. And the reason that is sort of like everything that I've cared about in my career, I now have under one umbrella. I for a long time worked with students with disabilities, infants and toddlers. I did that, and now I work with college students who are very much on the other end of that growth trajectory. So that's cool. I was an advisor when I was a faculty member, so I work with advising. I was a trio mentor when I first got here, and so I got to work with trio. I know Miss Maggie for a long time.
Yes.
Um,
Love Miss Maggie.
and and everything else that we do, all the supplemental instruction with students who are on academic warning or probation. Like that was me. I was that kid. Like I was that college student. But back when I was a college student in the late 90s, like all that stuff really wasn't as robust as the types of things that are available now and what I like to think we have at EIU. And so the first thing I love about it is I feel like it suits me. Both with my social work background, with my activism background and my advocacy, for students and students on the margins, especially. I really feel like this is good. But it also is such a huge challenge because I went from overseeing a department of 6 people to now overseeing an entire division that has almost 40 people in it. And I try to be a very person and relationship focused, leader. And so I spent a lot of time, out in the halls saying hi to people, walking around, checking on my staff. And that has taken a tremendous amount of work, but every second is worth it because it's the same thing with when students are struggling. And one of the things I said was you got to find your people. I mean, that's another way of saying that is you got to build relationships that are going to sustain you. And as a leader, you're only as good as the people who are on the front lines. And the better you support them, the better they're going to be able to do their job. And so that's what, that was the big challenge for me for over the course of the first year is just learning, what made everybody tick and what their strengths are and where their areas of growth can be and what kind of opportunities can we get one person versus another. Uh, it, I mean, it was, and I still continue to work on that, and we'll always continue to work on that. But it's a big piece of the way that I try to lead. And an example I try to give is that at the forefront, it's about those relationships and the relationships that will sustain you. And so we have a great team. I know you know a lot of them, but everybody from Amber and
Yes.
Danny and Miss Maggie, of course, and Jesse, we got such a great GA staff. That one of the things I'm really happy and proud about is that I feel like McAfee is a place that students are going to come into and feel like they belong, feel like they're welcome, feel like they know people are going to help and take care of them. And yeah, I couldn't ask for a better job than that. There's knowing people are going to come because they know you'll show up for them. So, and I could be wrong, but I feel like we're getting there, you know?
No, absolutely. Yeah. And I definitely love Trio too, like because I was in the Upper Bell program ran by
Hmm.
her name was um Dr. Theresa Dixon. Shout out to you, Dr. D.
Yep.
So
Yeah.
that actually prepared me for college in a way because she told me come to college or wherever I go to, make sure you find a trio and which I did for part coming here college my first day. I was like, okay, let me find like a trio place, and I found
Yeah.
that. And since then, I've been thriving through trio scholarships, helping out as being a trio ambassador. So they definitely allow for me to get out of my comfort zone even more and interact with students as well. And I tell people that if you need, it's not, and yes, obviously for first generation students, but if you need like with just scholarships or just people like help you with homework that's the place to go. So,
Mhm.
and I have been
So
advertising Trio. So, and
that's
speaking of
great.
Trio, so like, tell me like, so like you say, you say you say you was what was it? You say you were like a
A mentor.
not like mentor. Yeah, my bad.
Yeah.
Mentor and Trio. But like, tell me more about your story in Trio. A little bit more, like how you love it and like how's like been helping you, thrive even more in
The thing
Trio.
about Trio is
For those who don't
um,
know.
it is, and it serves first generation college students. It serves college students who are from low income backgrounds and college students who have disabilities. You can have one or all three, but you can get served by Trio. And it's not at every school, not every university has it. You talked about Upward Bound, which is usually through high school, community college. You get into a Trio program. And so it's not just like one program at this university, but it's an entire series of programs that prepare students to go on to a higher education. It builds an on-ramp of support for those students. So when you get to university and it's completely different than any other educational setting you've been in so far, and expectations are different and those sorts of things, you have sort of a known program that you've been working with and successful with that is now going to allow you to be successful in college. And so you get tutors, you get counselors, and you have dedicated staff. And we have the absolute GOAT of Illinois Trio, maybe trio across the country, and that's Maggie Burkhead. And
Yes.
um, it is, when we were afraid we were going to lose the grant last year because of everything that's happening politically,
Yes.
I was
I was scared.
more worried. Yeah, I was more worried for Maggie
Mm,
than anybody else just because of what she does for this campus and with this program. And then, of course, I was worried about the students and trying to figure out how we were going to fill that huge hole, but we got it, right? And everything has been amazing this year. And I feel like an extra intentional year because of the precarity of the grant. So, TRIO focuses on everything from financial literacy and really understanding not only the cost of college, but getting launched into your career with some money in your pocket, which is always huge. Making sure that students understand graduate school and the importance of, if you're going to go into fields where graduate education is necessary, getting you prepared for that next step. Making sure that you have a safe and welcoming place to come study and do your work that's going to be both validating but accessible as well. And I could go on and on, but TRIO is really about that. I like to use the word scaffolding. It is a scaffolding underneath students and their ability to be successful.
yes. And amen that we still got Trio at EIU, because whew, like I said, I don't know, I can't function without Trio because Trio is definitely part of my EIU journey. And without Trio, it's feel like it'll be like another gap missing in my life. So, and like
Yeah.
I said, hopefully next year Trio will go even further, with new fresh
Mhm.
faces taking over as I will be stepping down, from past vice
Yeah.
president. I'll be graduating, but I love Trio. Trio has helped me out, and I'm looking forward to see the next generation of students taking over, so forth,
Yeah.
when I'm gone. So,
Yeah.
and speaking of Maggie Burkhead, shout out to you, Miss Maggie. We love Miss Maggie. She's definitely the face of Trio.
Mhm.
Let's be honest. So, tell me more about your dynamic relationship with Miss Maggie, how you know her, like type of talks you guys have, like just more insight for
Sure.
those who don't know.
When I was first a faculty member here in 2010, and I learned about Trio, I contacted him like, how do I get involved? And that's how I got, as a mentor for a couple semesters with a couple different students. And that was, I mean, it was eye-opening. I got to go talk to the Trio retreat in the fall one year. So I got to give a sort of like a keynote, and that was awesome. Of course, I've taught students in Trio my entire career, so I know just like the amazing thing about it is watching the students really progress and excel and grow. And you can see that, and our Trio program is so successful. It's like you can see our Trio students developing right in front of your eyes. That's because of Maggie. That's because of the program she's designed. That's because of the energy that she puts into it. and the passion and the heart that she has. And yeah, I joke around that every morning I wake up and the first thing on my to-do list is just don't get in Maggie's way because I mean, she is just, she's a force of nature.
Yes.
I have no, no reason to actually, worry about her or the program. I mean, it's a delight for me as the dean. But my conversations with her, like you bring up a student's name, for example, and her eyes will light up, like she'll get the smile on her face, like she is recalling, and it's any student,
Yes.
we at this last year's retreat, we had a former student of mine come as a trio alum to talk with current students, and Miss Maggie didn't know that she was also a student of mine.
Mm.
And I didn't know she was coming to speak, but when we saw each other, it was amazing. And then to talk with Miss Maggie about that student afterwards, um, and see her face light up like that. Like I love those moments with her because that's where you really who you have in front of you. You have a person who's passionate, who is a tremendous steward of access and equity and inclusion. I mean, she's an exemplar, hands down. I want to learn as much as I can from her before she
Yes.
retires. That's what my goal is with her, is I want to learn as much as I can from her before she retires.
I feel you on that. Miss Maggie, she probably won't step down till they school force her to retire. But no, like I said, no, you're right. Miss Maggie's definitely helped me out a lot. Gave me some advice that when I had some down times, some good times. But she is that person
Mm.
I feel like everyone could talk to. Even if you don't even know who, even if you don't know who Miss Maggie is, I feel like people can just be able to know like the contribution she
That's
made
right.
on campus. So no,
Oh yeah.
that's really great. So, shout out to you, Miss Maggie, for all the hard work you've done, and about time to get some recognition. So, uh,
Yeah.
I was actually going to ask you, so like, what's some things that let's say outside, like, work and everything, what things you like passionate
Mm.
about, things you like to do on your free time, what
Uh,
things you like to do for
I'm
fun?
I love music. I will travel long and far to go see a good show. And my wife and I do that. We just went down to New Orleans at the beginning of February to see some music. That was a fun time. So I love music. I also love the guitar, and I have a small
Yes.
guitar collection. And I'm actually currently studying on the side to do luthier work, which is to repair and rebuild guitars. So it's a cool little hobby. I think I grew up with a dad who played the guitar, and then after he passed, inherited a lot of his things, and you feel like I'm going to carry on that lineage. I really like that. And then I also like to do photography. I do photography on the side sometimes for events. Friends will ask me to do it, but really, I like to go out in nature and with my camera and just take pictures. And because I'm a sociologist too, I like to go in the big social areas and social spaces and take a lot of photos too about how people are navigating their day and doing different things. So I do a little sociology with it. But yeah, I do a lot of quantitative, really, data, Excel, a lot of that kind of stuff during the day, but try to get a little creative and artsy outside of work. So
It's actually really great. I don't know if I've seen it. So have you shown your photography work on campus? I think I might have seen it. I could be
I
wrong.
probably have. There's
It
been,
sounds
yeah,
familiar.
yeah, there's been stuff up and about, and I have some stuff hanging in my office, and there's stuff around campus too. So yeah, I've taken photos for the university before. So I mean, there's stuff
I
out
knew
there.
it. Okay. Yeah. I definitely got to see some of your photos before I leave because I love photography. My grandma actually do
Mhm.
photography. So that would be,
Nice.
yeah, she actually loves, she got her own film. I've been trying to ask if I can have her camera. So we're going to have to work on that. But no, that's actually great. I know you say you had a puppy. What type of dog you have or pup?
She's a German Shepherd
Oh,
lab mix.
Wow.
She's big, she's goofy, and then our second dog Henry is a Aussie Doodle, so he's an Australian Shepherd and Doodle mix. But
Okay.
he's chill. He's chill. He's a little older. He's calmed down. He's chill. Olive, we just got in December, and she's about a year and a half, so she's still squirrely and rambunctious and barks and that sort of stuff. So we're working on that.
Okay. Okay. I love dogs.
Yeah.
Yeah, I definitely want to definitely bring, if you can, I would like to see maybe a dog. Like you can bring one. I just like animals, so I want to see it.
All right.
Maybe the
Bring it to
puppy.
campus.
Why not?
Yeah.
Take for a walk.
Yeah.
Nice
I
picture.
uh I do like to do that in like in the fall after
Yeah.
the first year students have spent a couple weeks on campus and they're starting to get a little homesick or miss their animals. I do like to bring a dog up and just walk around campus and just walk, and the students are just like, "Can I pet your dog? Can I pet your dog?" And then and then when spring hits, like when the weather starts to change like it is now, I'll start bringing the dogs back up to campus too. So you'll see us popping around. But usually at night after the workday, I'll come home, grab one of them, and head back up there. And yeah, I live in Charleston, so and can actually walk up to campus. I don't live that far away, so we usually just leave from home and do a lap around campus, come back home.
It's the best thing about living close to the university. It's not that far from the house. No. So,
Yeah,
but that's good
yeah.
though. And like, so I know you, any sports teams. I mean, I know you like all things Detroit. You like the Tigers, Pistons, Wolverines, Spartans. Sports
Not the
team,
Spartans.
no Spartans.
I'm no Spartans. I'm a huge baseball fan. I love the Tigers. I love any baseball. I will go. I like going to EIU watching the baseball team and the softball team play. I'll
Yes.
go. I have some little league parks not far from my house, and sometimes on a dog walk, I'll go up there and just watch the little tykes play, just because I love the sport. I think the sport is I love the history of the sport. I love the struggles. I love when it was at the forefront of things like, the Jackie Robinson and his story and all the people who came after him. I just love, I'm a sociologist, and it provides, like with the Negro leagues, and then you had the major leagues and how integration happened, and like all that kind of stuff is just fascinating to me. And now it's such a global sport, and that
It
World
is.
Baseball Classic just happened, and like I mean, it is you can. It's one of the sports I think that where you can really have a truly global team, and really hit different parts of the country. You have athletes who are from South Korea who are amazing. You have athletes who are from South America who are amazing. We have these islands in the Gulf area and the South that produce amazing talent. And so like I really feel like it's a good representative sport. And I just like it. I mean, I just like baseball. I can go to a game, keep score, have a hot dog, and be happy.
You know what? I'm glad you brought that because at A1, I'm a big culture guy. Like I learn more about cultures. I'm currently teaching myself Spanish, German,
Mhm.
a little bit Italian, a little bit of French, a little bit of Japanese, but it's all work in progress. Spanish, I feel like I could be confident. I'm confident a little bit because I've been practicing languages, and if I see,
Yeah.
many people in the Latino community, I'm able to just like translate some words a little bit better, confidently. So, but no, I was
Mhm.
actually going to say, like, what does culture means to you, and how do you think universities better support students from different backgrounds at EIU?
Mm. I mean, culture is a big concept, and it
Yeah.
really, if we're
Yes.
thinking just about like campus culture and culture at EIU, I think it's the glue that holds everything together,
It is.
because you can have, let's say, well, let's use Trio, right? Like we have a Trio program, and I know for a fact that there's institutions with trio programs who, because of their culture, it might not be as inclusive. They might not get the same kind of resources from the institution. They just might not be, as centralized as we have. That's a culture thing, and those are things that impact student experiences. So even though we could have the same types of services, the culture is really what makes the difference because without people, you can't have culture, but you can have process, you can have structure, you can have a hierarchy, but without people, you can't have culture. And that's why the relationship part is so important to me because that has to come first and foremost, is you have to build connection with people because that's how you create and change cultures and that's how you evolve. And so I really think like we're at a moment right now on our campus, and I'm going to speak frankly, like I really feel like culture's struggling on our campus. We've had a hard year.
Hmm.
Um, Not just academic year, but if you think calendar year from last January to now,
Yeah.
there's a lot of stuff that have happened. We lost amazingly important people,
Yes.
um, it- both tragically and due to medical reasons. We've experienced, a budget crisis on campus that led to us losing some amazing faculty and staff members. Our enrollment's down. We have just, had some major retirements on campus. Like these are all people things, Mark Hudson, CC Brinker, you know those names, Jody Stone, they all just retired. That's 100 years collectively of experience here. So I
Yes.
feel like we're in a tough moment and culture, from a leadership perspective is important because it's how people relate to each other. Um, but it's also, I mean, it can also be the undoing. And what do I mean by that? I mean, like if culture's bad,
Yes.
it persists. If culture's good, it persists. But we're in these moments now where everything's kind of fuzzy, and the sociological term is anomie, Anomie. It means normlessness. It's like what your norms, your processes, your ways of living get sort of thrown into the air and mixed up. You're left going, what's happening? Where's my anchor? How am I going to make sense of this? And I think that's the moment we're at right now. Honestly, as an institution is, I think over the next year or so, we're going to see where some chips fall and see what kind of culture emerges from that. But there's a lot of stuff happening. We're in a very fluid moment. Um, I think, more tangibly though, like for the student experience, I think we are blessed to have people on our campus like Maggie, like John
Yes.
Blue,
Yes.
um, and amazing student leaders like yourself, like Kyla with BSU, and so many others who are carrying the torch to ensure that part of that culture includes the ability for our students to be their best selves and to live authentically according to who they identify with and how they see themselves in this world. And that's not just I mentioned Maggie and John and Kyla and Black Student Union, but it's not just a racial thing. I mean,
Yeah.
it is an economic thing and a financial thing. It's social class. I mean, it's all of these different strings that pull on our lives in our different directions. We talk about demographics and, identify as a cisgender white male, but that's only one reality. And so I feel like we have these champions on our campus who are making sure that the diverse realities that our students bring and have on this campus are not lost while we're kind of shrugging our shoulders, thinking about the kind of institution EIU is going to be in a year or two.
And no, thank you for that shout out because like I said, I be telling people like reason why I do these podcasts on campus, not just because it's like a podcast for like trying to be like famous. I like talking to people about different cultures, like
Mhm.
talking to people like yourself. You're actually one of the first faculty members on here I'm actually doing a podcast
Mm.
with. So that's something I'm trying to like get more out, like because normally I talk to the students, which is always fun. I like talking to students like around my age, but like talk with more faculty
Mhm.
members that has experience and been through the college experience and have like successful careers. That's what I'm trying to like aim for as
Mhm.
well. So, yeah,
Yeah.
just yeah, like I said, you're right. Just trying to make the campus a little bit better, and I always tell people, no, I always try to stay positive as much as I can. There's days where I do feel down, and it's not easy staying
Mhm.
positive, but I give it to God, glory to God, because He provides me
Mhm.
with wisdom and confidence. So yeah,
Yeah.
just trying to help out, as much as I can.
Yeah.
So it's not
And
easy.
that's the cultural thing, right? Like that's like you're a human being who cares, trying to make a positive impact on the culture. Like that you are doing the work. Whether you realize it or not, like you are doing the work because for exactly what you just said, you're trying to inject a light into the experience at Eastern by doing a podcast and talking to students and wanting to talk to faculty because you're trying to connect people, right?
Yeah.
Like you're trying to find through lines. And I bet that you have talked with people who have said very similar things that I have. And you will talk to people after me who care as much as you and I about students and the student experience and about Eastern. But that's why you do this, right? Because you want to illuminate those voices that you as a student think is important. That is the work that you are doing the work because of that. And I don't think that needs to be acknowledged because it's you're doing what you just told me you're interested in doing. So I want to
Thank you.
validate you on that because this is the work. This is how culture is impacted and changed. It's not grandiose things. It's not national elections. It's conversations.
And that's the biggest thing too. And the reason why I say that, I'm glad you brought that up. It's because, I always tell, especially freshmen are new, or especially if it's someone I don't know and I see struggling, like I said, I know what it's like to not be on campus. And freshman year, it was definitely it was some grace period. I joined a few clubs, like before they changed to Panthers, uh RHA Hall Council, whatnot, but I didn't have no one to guide me through the EIU watch. I had to like literally test all the trials and errors on my own, and I have failed. I'm not gonna say everything I did was perfect. No, I failed and I did doubt myself, and I was in a rough period of time. But told myself, I don't want to keep falling short. I want to like make an impact, or at least have someone, at least try to help that person out that I couldn't get help when I first got here. So, and I'm happy for that because people say when I be doing motivation videos, it helps them. It actually took me by surprise. So I never know it was impacting people's lives. And I'm like,
Mhm.
thank you. It makes me happy knowing that it's just one person out there is hearing my videos and just feeling just a
Mhm.
sense of like, relatability. So, and
Yeah,
yeah, that makes me wake
I
up
love
every single
that.
day. That's my passion, just trying to motivate and talk to more, talk to great minded people.
So you after you graduate, you're thinking about the service, right?
Service wise, I'm kind of take a hiatus from that. Like if
Okay.
just I did love ROTC. Don't get me wrong, it was definitely great. I just had to.
Hmm.
They kind of knew I was just I was kind of doing like a bunch like ROTC, and I was already at the time last year, and
Okay.
just focus more on school, graduating. And if
Hmm.
I do want to, they say it's always open for me. So
Okay. I
yeah,
mean, you would
but
be, I mean, think about like you developing leaders. Can you imagine that? Like your passion, what it is that you love to do and talk with people. I mean, in the service, like pick a branch. In the Army, it's all about leadership development. Air Force has that on there too. But if you decide not to go that route, you can work with organizations and help with their own internal leadership development of staff and those sorts of things. Like you have that gift to connect with people and then be able to, really kind of tap into who they are and then lift them up. So yeah, so like I mean, this is a gift to the world, but also something you can probably cash in on too.
I'll think about that too. I was thinking maybe let's say because I was originally going to like be a chaplain in the military,
Mhm.
because chaplain I feel like it was like more my
Oh,
calling.
yeah, same thing. Yeah.
Definitely calling, and but. if they have something else, I wouldn't mind just talking, like I said, just talking with the
Mhm.
soldiers, just doing some
Yeah,
type of events for
counseling.
them. Just something,
Hmm.
you know what I'm saying? But
Yeah.
that's just something like those are my passions. But no, thank you for that. And I was actually going to say like, so something that you talk about like it was like more of a drought period as far in terms of
Mhm.
cultural. What in your opinion, what is something students complain about to you that you actually agree with, like some of the issues on campus as a whole, like just issues or things that could be better on campus in a way.
Besides the Wi-Fi,
Yeah,
uh,
the Wi-Fi. Oh my gosh. It was it's terrible sometimes, but I'm like, it's worse when everyone
yeah.
works.
Um, we get, I mean, I hear a lot of infrastructure stuff like the sidewalks, steps,
Mm.
things like that. But I think students really understand and see how uncoordinated different departments are across campus with each other. Like how we call them sort of silos is the speak that every kind of operates and doesn't communicate across those. Like you go to a financial aid office, you got a question, you're
Yes.
talking to somebody over there, then you have to go over to academic advising, and then you have to go through the whole process again because those two offices don't talk to each other. And it ends up, impacting, I think, the student experience, but also how timely we can get student support. If a student needs to get into the counseling clinic and we don't have any communication with the counseling clinic, then it's going to be hard
Mm.
for us to follow through and make sure that that student is getting the services that we want them to have. But I think students experience that too. I think they see that from the student side where they might have a conversation with an RA, but then the disconnect when they get to the academic support center, that there's no conversation. The student is being their own sort of case manager and having to navigate the systems on campus without any kind of coordination. So that's one of the big ones I hear. A lot of that's my words, of course, but pulling out some of the things that I hear from students, a lot of it has to do with feeling like they're in a disjointed system and just bouncing from office to office.
Mm. No, that's actually that's actually some good no feedback. And I was actually gonna ask, so in my personal opinion, I feel like I'm gonna call it right now because, well, obviously, due to people, like I said, Marcus and Jody Stone, CC stepping down,
Mhm.
many other retirees, new, like I heard the union are gonna change different locations, everything. It's gonna be a lot next year, but I feel like it'll
Yeah.
be. I feel like next year is a good reset point for the campus as a whole. Do you think next year, with all the changes, once people get their like everything finalized, they got everything they need to go for next year, do you think this campus can be great next year with just
I think I
new
think this campus
opportunities?
I think the campus will make strides next year. I think as we work through the summer with all of these changes happening and housing is moving
Yes.
offices and career services is moving, but then we have academic departments, we're losing a college and all these other
Mm,
things. Like a lot of
yes.
that is a lot at once. And it goes back to my point about when there's so much when all of our norms are sort of gone and we're feeling like we don't have our bearing or our anchor, that's the moment we're in. But once things start to fall into place, people get to see the pathways forward and
Yes.
they can make, real observations and have real experiences as things are coming together, and that helps out. It's that moment that the culture matters because it can go in several different directions, but that's that at that moment where like the charismatic leaders on campus um, are really going to make that difference to see what direction we take. So I think we make progress. I think a lot will depend upon what emerges through all of this. But I'm hopeful, and I'm not. Like, I love this place.
Yeah.
This is where I work, and I love these students. So I'm always hopeful for it. I just think we got a long way to go.
We do. I mean, you got it's like I said, everything happens for a reason, and things take
Hmm.
time to rebuild. But like I said, I like EIU too. And it's kind of like things will be all right. We're gonna say that it's gonna be all
Hmm.
right. Just as long as
Yeah,
everyone stick
it's gonna be all right.
together, it's gonna be all
That's
right.
right.
Stick together.
Yep.
And I was gonna actually ask you, so like, what are some ways, that you would like to see students out on campus, maybe next year so forth? Because obviously, due to COVID, even though
Hmm.
it's been long over, it still has some effect, especially on the students that were during like on Zoom at the time.
Hmm.
But like, how do you think, what ways you can maybe this you or maybe the school can encourage students like get out and ways they can get the room to feel more connected, get that connection back on campus?
I think we got to know what they want to get them out of their room because I feel like we do a lot of work to
Yeah.
put on programs and have these opportunities that we might get, six, seven students at,
Yeah.
which is hard. It's also expensive. But I'm curious if like these are the things that students want. Should we be having maybe some of it's important, like I one thing I love, and I give long answers if you haven't figured this out yet, but one thing I love during the fall
Take
is
your time.
how the campus Democrats and the Republicans, the student organizations on campus had these mediated debates. Like that's the kind of stuff you would want on a college campus. That's the
Yes.
kind of stuff that I think really matters. And from what I understand, had some pretty good turnout because it was student driven, but it was important. And it was important for those students. I think we need more of that to understand what's important to students, what kind of activities they want to be involved in, how they want to be involved in those activities, and then using their feedback and information to make that happen. We just had a trio lock-in, and that trio lock-in was amazing because it was student driven and the ambassadors and the grad student helped organize that and pull it together, but also like everybody loves a lock-in, right? Who's not gonna come for free food and karaoke and games, right? So
Exactly.
like, but that happened because Maggie listened to feedback from the trio students that said we like to do lock-ins, like let's do this. And they're wildly successful now. So I think more of that. I think we got to keep listening and asking students and listen to their answers when about, we think and know engagement's important, but it's only going to be as important as it is meaningful to the students. And so we need to figure out what that is for them. Maybe they like to play video games.
That's true.
Maybe they do like to play video games. How do we make that a social activity? Like how can we come up with like our own Roblox experience where students can hop in and play games with other students at Eastern on Roblox. Like that's I think would be something that students would be like, hey, something like that would be cool because that's how we roll now. We like to do this kind of stuff. So I think, again, we need to really tap into what's going to be meaningful for them.
I was just gonna say, because you're actually right about that. Do you think the one classic thing that maybe sometimes the school is, well, I ain't gonna say that they're missing, but could be do even better is like more maybe handing out flyers, maybe like not on social media, but like in person or just that social connection.
Mhm.
Do you think that would be a little bit better, especially
Yeah.
for students, especially younger students,
Yeah.
freshmen coming in? Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Like, yeah, just go like walk around campus and hand out flyers, talk to people. Like just like
Yeah.
it's about the connection. I think you and I probably first started talking is because you were at an event and I went up and started talking to you or vice versa. And now,
Yes.
we're doing podcasts. I think it was when you needed the academic updates for BSU last year. So like you know, but now we're having conversations about things that are much deeper. And it all started with, hey, I
Yes.
need some updates about what's happening on the academic calendar. You don't know what those sparks can really lead to if you're not face to face all the time, if you're not having those kinds of interactions. And that's a lesson for students too, because you got to get out and away from your phones, right? You got to get rid
Yes.
of these things sometimes to have connections eyeball to eyeball. And you got to realize that that's just part of being human and being of the world is you got to work on those interpersonal skills that don't involve your thumbs and a screen.
No, you're absolutely right, because recently, I mean, when I went to, Lake Charleston or even at my job a couple of days ago, I saw some books. I'm starting to read more books, which has always been great. I always
Yeah.
like reading books, but reading books it's like, something that's gonna motivate me to be better. So,
Hmm.
and obviously learn different languages, trying to practice different languages, and also staying at the gym, just going to the gym. And I
Hmm.
always be telling people like, Terrell, they be saying, Terrell, you be going on your own little mini adventures on campus. I be saying, I do. I can't lie.
Yeah,
Because one,
absolutely.
being in my room is boring. And also I'm like, sure, man, I could go to, little Marty's, go to the bars, do whatever. I don't mind doing that. However, though, I like to just get out of my room, just do something that's, fun.
Yeah, yeah, right. And
I be telling
and
people
something that's
I like being in my
yeah, something that's meaningful for you. That's I think that's the important part. What's meaningful for others might be going to Marty's and unofficial, and there's time and there's space for that
yeah.
kind of stuff. And yes, I think like students need to experience that, but it can't be the only thing. And there's
Mm-mm.
things about you, every human being is a human being that I think you can find opportunities for or ways to grow through when you're in college, whether that's at Eastern or anywhere else. You just got to be open for that. You have to realize that it's, the stereotypical college experience is something that doesn't exist. And what the stereotypical college experience is, it's how you make it and
Yes.
how you craft your path through is going to be what your experience is. And you can, like you, take a ton of opportunities to learn different languages and to go on your adventures and to meet different people and get involved with different organizations to help you round you out and grow you as a person, or you cannot do that kind of stuff. It's really, it's that self-efficacy. It's that we're going to put this in your hands. What are you going to make of it? I wish I could tell every student that from there, like this is going to be what you make of it. And 4 or 5 years down the road, 6 years maybe. I was a 5.5 year kid in undergrad. Like I get that, you know, but you're going to be a lot different than your first day of college,
Oh,
hopefully.
yes. 100%.
Hopefully, and you get to make all those choices for who you're going to be at the end. I think that is the thing I wish, if I were to go out and proselytize in in the library quad, that's what I would say. Your
Yes.
choices determine who you're going to be when you walk across that stage.
Absolutely. And I feel like I said, made this journey's been long, but it's been rewarding, had some
Mhm.
downs, but had some major ups. And I
Yeah.
feel like I have definitely grown since 2021 when I first arrived. And like I said, 5 years later now, I'm fully confident. I know what I want to do, all about just implementing jobs and staying confident in myself, taking that risk, which I'm going to be doing more and
Mhm.
just putting myself out there more. So, no, you're right.
Yeah.
You're absolutely
That's
right
what it's
about that.
about. I love that.
And
I love it.
well, thank you. Oh, thank you. And I was actually going to ask you, so, what does success means to you personally? Like, what does success means to you, a successful person?
It's somebody who um, can live their authentic life, who live the way that they feel like they want to live, to be
Yes.
the person that they want to be. I ask this question of students all the time. I ask them what their definition of success is. So thank you for asking me that.
You up?
A lot of times they say, getting my GPA up, going to class, like great. That's great stuff. That's the micro decisions that you make every day that make you a fantastically awesome, successful human being. But really, what is it? Like, what is your driver of success? Like, your GPA is just a GPA. What is it you really want? And so I really want you, I want Kyla, I want everybody involved in Trio, everybody we serve on our campus to leave feeling like they are their most authentic best self. And they've been given the opportunity to grow through that. That's success for me because I mean that's really what matters at the end of the day. So your GPA, it doesn't matter. How many times you had to retake a class, it doesn't matter. Who you are matters. But how you grow through what you go through. That's what I want. I want students to feel like they're gonna be their best self. They're who they want to be.
I like that. I definitely like that. And I was just going to ask, if you can leave students with one message, what would it be?
You got to believe in yourself. I mean, if you don't believe in yourself, it's gonna be hard. It's gonna be hard. You got to believe you can do this, and you're here because the university believes in you. The university believes you can do it. That's why you're here. But you got to have that same belief in yourself. You got to know that you can do it. Even like you said, you've been through some hard times, been through some great times. All of it, all of it matters. And that's really um, where you find out who you are. But you got to believe in yourself to take that step. You get down. We started talking a little bit about at the beginning. What do you do when you're down? Like, just take that one thing. Just get one thing off your plate and you get some momentum. You got to believe that when you're in that low spot, that you can do that one thing and get your momentum going. You also got to believe when you're at your highest highs, like you want to take those moments and remember them and cherish them because you know they're not always going to be there. You got to believe, in your ability to move through all of that stuff. So, and if you don't, you got to find somebody who's going to help you build that, and that's really finding your people. So I want students to build a belief in themselves that gets them to their success. And if not, find people who can help them do that.
That golden rule, you gotta believe in yourself because, yeah, if you don't believe in yourself, then you won't get nothing done. So confidence is key. Don't be overconfident, but have some confidence that you know you will be successful. And I'm actually glad you said. And I was going to ask, what was like a time in your life? It ain't got to be just school. It can be anything like that you felt that you may have failed somewhere, or you let yourself down, or it was like a situation that caused you to doubt yourself, but you didn't give up. Like, if you can describe that, just an example.
Just one example, man, I have so many. I mean,
If you want
there's
to
there,
mention one or two.
I mean, I, I'll give you a funny one and I'll give you a serious one. Like, for example, the other day I was meeting with a staff member and a student in my office, first thing in the morning. And the president of our university, President Gatrell, and our Provost Farley, were in Springfield testifying at budget hearings for our university. And they needed a piece of data from me. But I was in a meeting and I turned my ringer off and I always put my phone face down because I don't want to be distracted. And they were trying to get a hold of me because they needed a piece of data. And they ended up calling Amber Webb, who came into my office to tell me they were trying to get a hold of me to get an answer to their question. So like, stuff like that is going to happen. You definitely don't want to ignore the boss and your boss in those kinds of situations, but like you can't beat yourself up with stuff like that.
Mm-mm.
Those things are going to happen. They will happen all the time. Um, I think the things that are harder for me and the ones I really grow through are unforced errors. They're things that I've done that I, might have the best intention, might have tried my hardest, but just didn't work out. Um, I wrote a dissertation. You do that when you get a PhD, and that took a lot of course correction. It took a lot of failure, rethinking, mentorship from my mentor. Um, and there was times where I was like, I'm done. Like, I'm not going to do this. But I wasn't going to let myself quit, even when I wanted to, and people around me weren't going to do that either. And that's, yeah, I knew who I needed to talk to in moments where I was really low because I had cultivated those relationships with my mentor and other people to have my back. And it's just part of that adulting intelligence. It's like AI that really matters is adulting intelligence. is understanding like you need people. Like you can't not have your people. And so the best things that I've ever grown through are I've had people with me who have helped me through it. I've been in a long time user of therapy and counseling. I think that that's an amazing thing. I think everybody should do that. Even in my own background, doing similar work because it helps keep you grounded, but also you need your own connections. So I think the hard things are less hard when you have people who you can count on and you can trust, and that comes from building those relationships. So yeah.
All excellent answers. Excellent answers. And I was gonna say I just got two last more questions. So
Hmm.
what's a piece of advice you can give obviously maybe let's say students of this semester and maybe new freshly incoming students and return students for next year too. Some
Ah,
advice you could just give.
okay. So if you're here this semester, right now, we got about 6 weeks, 5 weeks left of the semester. It's
Yes.
time to, I mean, it is time. Now is the time where you can show what you're made of.
Mhm.
Like there's still time if you're struggling in classes to be like, all right, I can turn this thing around, but it's go time.
Yes.
It really is to find your resources and use them, find a tutor, find a peer educator, get connected with people in trio if you're not in trio. Like now's the time. If you listen to everything I've said in this podcast and answer your question, now's the time you tap into those connections and those resources that you make. And if you haven't done that yet, now's a good time to start. For incoming students who are going to be with us next fall, I think the big key advice I would give is it's going to be different. Like you cannot expect it to be high school.
No.
You cannot expect it to be your K-12 education. It's a different animal and there's different expectations. And we need to do better as just a higher ed across the board of working with incoming students with that message because I don't think that message is really being shared. So we need to work with our incoming students about what our expectations are clearly, really transparently, and in language that is going to be accessible about really what this is what college is going to be like. There's going to be this struggle. You're going to have a financial struggle at least once, probably more than once, right? Like you're going to run out of food at some point. You might make a bad decision and wind up at a party you don't want to be at. Like all of these things will happen to you when you were in college. The more we talk about this stuff on the front end, I think we build resiliency for students as they move through these. But I think what we really see with our incoming students now is they don't have an opportunity to build that from the jump because it's such a shock when they get here. So, yeah.
Like I said, like I said, well, I'm still here because like I said, I like to help out. Just talk to not even just freshmen, just people in general that just need that guidance. I have done in the past, and it definitely works. You just never know the impact you
Yeah.
may have that person, even just a simple hi or kind gesture. It goes a long
That's
way.
right. It absolutely does. And you never know what that could mean to somebody. You never know what a smile can mean to somebody.
It's a simple yes.
Yeah.
And the last question I have: what legacy do you want to leave behind as dean? Or what do you want your legacy to be? People that know you, we want them to remember you.
Um, I don't know. I don't know. I don't know. I don't have an answer to that. I don't think in those terms. So like
Okay. Interesting.
I don't I yeah, you stumped me on this one. Like I don't I mean I think like if I could be remembered as somebody who put the students at the center and tried to do my best to make sure that their experience here was, what they wanted. That would be enough for me. I could just to know like I put some things out there to help students be successful, and have have the kind of experience that we'd want them to have. But yeah, that's a hard one.
I would say for you, I would say for you, I would say a legacy I could see you leaving behind is just someone that cares about the students, people's well-being, and also you want to try to make a positive impact, not even just the roles of students, but just staff as well.
Yeah, thanks.
I'll say that could be a good legacy for you. But like I said, it can
Yeah,
happen. It'll happen over time. Maybe you'll come up with something when it's all said and done.
yeah, cool. Yeah, we'll see. I don't know. That's good. I don't. Yeah, I have to think about. I mean, I feel like I'm still young.
Yeah,
Maybe I
absolutely.
should start thinking about that. I don't know. I'll be 48 next month, so we'll see.
Oh, congratulations. Okay.
Thanks.
For real, for real. That's such a good age. You don't look 48. The people actually think you look like kind of like in your 20s,
My
30s.
20s, huh? I got gray hair in this beard, Terrell. I mean, this beard
Man,
is
don't worry about the gray. But nah,
I
you
don't
look
like
but nah, you look good though.
yeah.
You look good.
Thank
But
you.
nah, you're very welcome. Well, no, I'll say, thank you for agreeing to be on this podcast. So
Oh
uh
man, this is great. I needed this. This was a blast.
this was fun.
I'm glad we finally got time to do this.
Yes, no, I'm happy and like I said, guys, so like I said, this is Dr. Michael D. Gillespie, the Dean of Student Success. If you guys see him on campus, make sure to say hi. Any questions you have about resources, especially for Trio or maybe sociology, just reach out to him and
Yes.
he'll help you out. And overall, I hope you guys have a great weekend. Be on the next lookout for the next podcast, which is happening very soon. And I hope, yeah, like I said, have a great day, and I'll see you guys on the flip side.
See you, bud.
See ya.